Here's a quick word from Shameless Pets. Shameless Pets crafts healthy, tasty dog treats with a twist, using upcycled ingredients to be more sustainable. Every 6-ounce bag is full of all-natural, soft-baked treats that are bursting with superfoods. Visit shamelesspets.com. Again, shamelesspets.com today.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Welcome. Grab your pet, bring him around the radio. On today's show, we'll be visiting with Marc Bekoff once again. He works over at the, I believe, the University of Colorado. He teaches over there, and he's very well versed with canine behavior, actually animal behavior all around. Mm-hmm. He's going to tell us how we should unleash our dog. And when I say unleash our dog, I mean that very metaphorically.
Yeah, don't just take the leash off when
you're in. That's not what he means.
Yeah,
you're terrifying me, guys. We're going to have dogs hit by cars, dog fights, all of that.
Yeah.
No, by unleash, he means like letting them roll in worms and all kinds of weird, yucky stuff.
And letting them stop and sniff on a walk. Let them stop and smell the roses.
I've never seen my dog smell a rose, by the way. That's not what my dog's smelling.
Mine pee on him, but that's
yeah. Well, he's leaving his mark, and that's what they like to do out on the walks. It's like, what do we call it, Facebook or Twitter? They're catching up with the news of the day as they take their walk around the block.
I always call that getting the story of their neighborhood.
So Marc Bekoff will explain that a little more coming up in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Also, we will talk to Merebeth Veit. She is a pet transporter. She takes animals from shelters, usually tough situations, to situations where they might find a home, or she can be hired, too, to do this. You know, if you're moving across the country, she'll move your dog across the country. And she lucked out. I think she was in real estate, and I think real estate. And in the late 2000s, of course, the real estate market bottomed out, and fate intervened, and she ended up transporting pets across the country. We'll find out a little bit about her story coming up. But now we want to know about your story. Hey, Randy, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Where are you calling from today?
Indiana.
Indiana. Where? Because that's Dr. Debbie's stomping grounds. That's where.
Terre Haute.
Okay, yeah. All right. I come from the Hammond area, Hammond, Munster, Indiana. So,
yeah, you're straight north of us.
Yeah. Well, what can I do for you today?
Well, the issue that I have is I've got an 8-year-old Labrador, and I had 3 dogs about a year and a half ago, and 2 of them have died, and they were her, constant companions. And now, when I leave my house, she stays in, and she'll have anxiety attacks or something because she literally almost chewed through one of my walls trying to get out of the direction that I go. I go through a utility room, and, many times she doesn't do anything. Other times, she'll literally try and chew through the wall. So I put up, kind of a barrier. But she'll lay by that door, and, I've got a 2x12 sitting there in front of that door now, and she'll chew on that.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
And I just don't know what to do about her, separation anxiety.
Yeah. So did she ever do any part of this before the other dogs were gone? Was she ever real anxious like this?
Never.
Okay.
Never. I could leave her in the house. All 3 of the dogs, I could leave them in the house for 24 hours, and I'd come home, they'd be in the same spot.
Okay. Yeah. And so separation anxiety is different than, dogs that are just anxious or nervous when they see their owners leave. So separation anxiety rises to a whole new level, and it usually does occur when we have a lot of vocalizing, destructive behaviors. We can have problems with urinating, defecating in the house. So that's kind of fits more of the clinical picture of what rises to separation anxiety. So it's some dogs, it can happen in dogs that are kind of a little high anxiety normally, but it also can be triggered by different kind of stressful events. So changes in the household, the kid goes to college, loss of the housemates. I see it sometimes more in older pets as they start to have some of their senses declining. So there's a lot of things that can kind of trigger this. So The challenge is that there's a behavioral component that we have to address with training, and there's other things that we can do environmentally as well as even medications to help her with this. The challenge is it's not a quick fix, so it does take patience, and it does take utilizing kind of a training regimen to try to help her cope with this. So the basic big things that I look at is we try to teach basically independence to a dog with separation anxiety. So that basically means that we're going to do a structured program where we're going to reward her for calm, quiet behaviors when you're around without you doing anything and giving her necessarily attention for that. So, so kind of the examples that I like to give is I like to teach a place command or a settle command. When you go to a pillow, you go here or there, and she gets rewarded for lying there in a calm, quiet manner without whining, crying, carrying on, or trying to seek out you. Now, some dogs don't do that and they'll carry on and cry, but if you get a quiet window of say 10 seconds, then I give a treat reward.
When I'm around, she never has that issue.
Good. So that's great.
Yeah, she's not a problem whatsoever if I'm home.
Good. So what we're going to push her to do is to try to learn increasing distance away from you. So if she can do this without a fail with you around, then we're going to ask you to kind of do it and leave the room or get across a far distance where she might start to have some anxiety about sensing that you're leaving the room. And then again, we kind of only go as far as she's comfortable and we reward her for that quiet, calm behavior. That may mean you go to your bedroom and come back, and as long as she's quiet and calm, you give her a reward. Now, there are food dispensing treat items, and the name of those fails me, so I don't know if Judy or Hal, you remember what the name of that is, but there's this little kind of unit that you can put next to, say, her pillow or her bed, and it has a remote control that you can press the plunger and reward her without having to run all the way back to where she's at. And that's a great way to teach this kind of settle command. And then you kind of work up to going out into the garage, shutting the door, and then if she's still holding that quiet, calm place, then you give her a reward. That's teaching independence away from you. The other thing is that if she's ever anxious, carrying on, whining, crying, and as you're kind of getting ready to leave, we don't want to reward her. We don't want to do things like make a lot of eye contact or tell her, it's okay, baby. Daddy will be back soon. Don't worry about it. All of those things are soothing and reinforcing that unwanted behavior. So it makes us feel better, but it doesn't really help the dog. They're getting some attention for, an unwanted behavior. So we want to just watch how we respond to that. So no eye contact, no talking to her, and really changing the routine when you are leaving the home. So what I usually try to tell people is 30 minutes before you go, we're going to change up everything. So for women, we grab our purse, grab our coat and our keys. Dogs pick up on those cues, and that's actually becomes the trigger for some of this anxiety to start amping up. So that may mean an hour before you leave, you grab your wallet, your keys, you put it in a different place. And then you go sit down and you finish watching TV or eating your breakfast. And then you mix it up and you move it around so she's not going to learn those same cues that every time you leave the house. So if you can leave out another door, that's a great thing to try as well, just so that we don't always have the same exit door that you're looking at. But it takes a lot of time, and I do find some dogs that, especially if you're in that destructive phase, it does help quite a bit to get some help from a veterinary professional and some anti-anxiety medicine. So there are some approved medications that we can use for dogs with separation anxiety, and I would definitely say you may be in that situation where you need to have a little bit of help as you're trying to train her with this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And I like how you've created that the safest environment you can. So a lot of people will say, I'll crate my dog. And there are some dogs that if they have separation anxiety and you crate them, they actually get worse. So we kind of have to deal with the individual pet, but make the environment as safe as you can, take away things that'll be a danger if she destroys them, or the home, obviously. And then there's other types of things that we can get into as far as enrichment toys, pheromones. There's a lot of those kind of things that I'll use to assist in a dog with this. And in many cases, hey, if you have doggy daycare in your area, that's one thing to consider. And some dogs actually do better if we add another pet into the household, whether it be a dog or a cat or whatever. It may be something to consider if you've got room in your home and your heart for another furry one.
I might have, but I don't think my wife does. I'm having 3 dogs. We're down to 1, and she's like, "No more dogs, please." So.
Yeah, I hear that around my household too. You're not alone on that one. Randy, thank you so much for calling. Good luck on that. Let us know how it works out. If you need a follow-up later on down the road, give us a call back. Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten in part by Red Barn. And during these uncertain times, Red Barn is grateful for the consistent love and joy our pets bring into our lives. They're also grateful for their all-natural, long-lasting dog chews. Now diligently working alongside their pet parents, your dog deserves a break in between video chat appearances and lap sitting. Red Barn chews are the natural way to distract your dog during the day or give their paws a break from typing up emails. Thanks, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
And now an Animal Radio news brief.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. A woman in Italy says her dog has learned how to navigate the city bus routes in Genoa all by himself. The owner told the Local that 12-year-old Camillo has been riding the bus since he was a puppy. Now he spends his days riding around town and getting off at the stops where he knows he'll find a treat. Camillo's owners say the pooch is always taking the bus to a local poultry shop. That's where he gets a few handouts, and then he comes home by the end of the day. Animal behavior expert Luigi Bottini explains that Camillo isn't really plotting out his bus routes, but instead he's using familiar smells and sights to figure out when to get on and off the bus. Camillo's owner says she's ordered a camera for his collar so she can see exactly what the four-legged traveler does on his adventures. She also should send him with a list so he can get a whole chicken and bring it home instead of just, a piece here and there.
This has been an Animal Radio news brief. Get more at animalradio.pet.
Need a fix of the good stuff? Get more Animal Radio with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Reiser, and you're listening to Animal Radio. Every minute you're here, you're not harming someone else. I don't know what that means. If it's usable, use it. Otherwise, cut it and get out.
Attention sports fans. Now you can watch every football game you want all season long without leaving your home with Dish for about $50 a month. Compared to your cable bill, you can save almost $600 a year. Call right now and sign up for Dish and watch every football game you want. With Dish, there are no boxes to pay, plus get free installation as soon as tomorrow if you call now. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch your favorite sports and channels on your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Be one of the first 100 orders right now and get a free voice remote. Don't miss a single football game all year long and save a ton of money. Get a free voice remote and free installation as soon as tomorrow. But you gotta call All American Dish right now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Phones are open at 1-866-405-8405.
We've had a lot of guests on Animal Radio, but my favorite part is still talking to you. Just to check in if you want to say, hey, tell us about your pet, who your furry family member is, or if they're having a problem, to talk to Dr. Debbie, or if it's a grooming problem, our very svelte Joey Villani, the dog father. Don't forget you can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. What are you working on, Lori?
Speaking of that svelte, Joey, there are some new swimming trunks for dogs. And don't even start right now because I know I can see your mouths like hanging on the floor. But I just want to bring up the idea and get your feeling about it, especially Joey and his new hot bod.
That's on the way. Well, good afternoon, Heather. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm so pleased to get your call.
Where are you calling from?
Arroyo Grande, California.
Boy, we're getting lots of calls right around this area. You must be listening on KVEC.
You bet. And, it's a great station, and they've just undergone some changes, and I'm so excited that they've kept the best of the best. So there you go.
There you go. I think we've actually been on this station, at least a decade now. So we're very happy to be a part of KVEC.
Great.
So what's going on? How can we help you? I have the whole team here for you.
Oh, terrific. We need a whole team. So it's a household with my daughter and I have had 2 Chihuahuas. One is 4 and one's 3. It's mama and baby. I mean, literally. And then we have several cats, and the cats aren't the issue. We brought in a new rescue border terrier puppy, and he got along great with the Chihuahuas until he got bigger than them. And then now they're, and they played and they cleaned each other and did their ears and all that stuff, and it was great fun. But all of a sudden he got more, I don't say aggressive, but assertive in his play style. Okay. So they now turn the other way and leave the room when they see him coming in. Okay. And we've tried, we give them treats and we give them all love and all that stuff. And we just need to know if it's a puppy stage or something we should do to control his aggressiveness with the play style, which they do not appreciate.
Okay, now you see aggressiveness, so I just need a little clarification. So meaning he's rambunctious, like he kind of bounds on them, leaps on them, and it's something they don't appreciate, or is it actually gotten to bites and growls and something more like that? No, I would say
what you said the first part. Okay. It's just too rough a play for them. And they are neutered females, and he's a neutered male, and he's probably going on 4 or 5 months now.
Well, you got 2 different demographics going on. You've got the adolescent boy right now. Okay, we'll put this in kid terms. We've got the adolescent boy, and you've got the 20-year-old college age girls. So, do they want to hang out and play a lot together in the human world? Maybe some, but maybe their level of interaction together is going to be limited, and it isn't always realistic to expect those 2 different communities, if you will, to get along and to play and to interact in the same manner. So, yes, the trick is to try to figure out some common ground, and that might mean a couple things. That might mean that we work on rewarding the patience of the gals, and then we work on expending this boyish energy that he has. Then hopefully we can find some common ground. But I don't think the goal right now that you should be focused on is to try to get them to lay next to each other in the same room and say, oh, all is nice, because that might just be a bit unrealistic for his age and his exuberance that he has. And being of a border terrier, I mean, they are a go, 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 go. So terriers are all about doing, sniffing, getting into things, and that just might be a bit more than the girls want to have happen. So I do like the idea of treats and rewards, but I would treat and reward the girls when he's around. So just the fact that he's around, maybe interacting in the same room, that's a great reason to give them a treat. I wouldn't just give them a treat for no good reason. I would make sure we try to pair that physical presence of the other dog with something good comes to them, whether it's a special treat, some special love, whatever it might be that your dogs enjoy. But I really think the big thing is for this young fella is to get him worn out, and that might mean finding some activity that is good for him to just kind of burn that energy down, whether that's going to a play group, like a puppy kindergarten class, a doggy daycare. I said play groups. Taking him out for long, extensive walks, playing ball. Some little terriers excel at things like fly ball, which is kind of a retrieving game with balls where they have to do a relay race, and that could be a great thing as well. So something to give him some physical activity and stimulation, so that when you do have them all together, you can kind of expect hopefully the interaction will be a little bit more on a subdued level for him.
Oh, exactly. And I think we're both on the same track. So thank you very much for that. He started daycare a couple of days a week just today.
Awesome.
And
good.
Anyway, so I think so just kind of try to tire him out.
Yeah, exactly. And, in recognizing when his behavior starts to kind of amp up, and if that means kind of interjecting yourself into the equation, you see that he kind of gets that. Some puppies get kind of a crazy puppy look about them where they look like they're just going to.
Kind of like it's on the hunt, kind of, which is his nature. It's like, okay, calm down. So he just gets him to overwhelm like a little kid at bedtime. He just gets that second wind.
So I'm glad it's all innocent and it's playful, because that is totally workable. And I would see that these guys are going to, be pals down the road. But yeah, he's just kind of that annoying little brother right now.
I appreciate it. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening, Heather. We appreciate it.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
Hello, this is Dr. Paul on Animal Radio. Take care of the pets and make sure that in these hot days that they get in lots of water, and don't tie them outside in the sun because then they get a heat stroke.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452.
Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. Well, apparently many people claim their pet is an emotional support animal in order to get out of paying certain deposits when moving into a new rental home. I always just, we talk a lot about emotional support pets on airplanes and, the havoc that they can cause there. But now in Florida, State Senator Manny Diaz is actually working with the Florida Apartments Association, and he has spearheaded a bill there that aims to crack down on those who falsely call their pets emotional support animals. This would require Floridians to have a certificate signed by a licensed doctor to prove that their pet is indeed for emotional support. I don't know about you guys, but most emotional support animals that are on planes these days have those certificates from their doctors or a letter from their doctor. And I don't think the doctor is really qualified to say that this is an emotional support pet. Doesn't really have a lot to do with it. But under this proposed law, it would be a misdemeanor for misrepresenting your pet as an emotional support animal. And those who break that law and lie about their pet status could be fined up to $500 and get possible jail time. So this is the very beginning stages of this. The bill just passed through its first committee, so it's still alive in the Florida State Senate. And it still has a couple of more committee hearings before it hits the Senate floor and a vote, but we, of course, will keep you posted. And if you haven't discovered this yet for yourself, let me tell you, there are now dog swimming trunks or shorts. So if you are the proud owner of a male dog, I was thrilled to see this. Some other people, I've seen articles on this where they're like, what the heck? And why does a dog who prefers to be naked anyway, why would they want shorts? But they're made by a company called Cove. That's Cove with a K, which specializes in recycled plastic garments. I have to stop here and tell you that I did find these shorts on Amazon by this company. And I had to write a little note. I had to find out how I could leave a little note for whoever posted these swim trunks, because every single ad for them, and there were several, had the word recycled misspelled. Oh. So if you can get past that, which was hard for me, but they say each pair of swim trunks is made out of 8 plastic bottles and a little bit of spandex thrown in there so they get some stretch to them. They have, they're made for a dog, so they have like adjustable sides and a place for, their peeing apparatus down there.
Peeing apparatus.
Yeah. But apparently, if you're not sold on these shorts yet, they're quick drying material, this recycled plastic material. And guys, there is more. And Hal, I thought about you, but you're really a cat guy. So I have to go to Joey. For guys like Joey, the company also makes men's swimsuits out of identical fabric, so you guys can have matching trunks.
Oh my gosh!
And Joey with his new beach body. How cool is that?
There you go. me and Simon. How about for Gurney? Can I get one for the bird?
That's probably next.
So, how many of these did you order?
I didn't yet, but I thought it was a really cute idea. But I still have truly not past the recycled.
Well, they're probably
misspelling in every posting.
They're probably foreign.
I might invest. In fact, I'm hoping that he says, "Hey, Lori, thank you for pointing out that recycle was misspelled 8 times. Here's a free pair of shorts." A free pair of shorts for Diesel. I'd have to get my own.
Oh, God bless you.
I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. And if we're lucky enough to work with our pets, that's great. If we're lucky enough to combine pets within the job that we have, even better. For Dr. Debbie, she always kind of had a science-y thing going on, but she loved animals, so being able to combine them and work as a veterinarian, something very unique for her. I would say you're happy. You're probably one of the happiest people I know.
Well, I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do and what I've always dreamt of. So I'm very lucky. It would really stink if I was made to do like insurance, because I really don't like that kind of detail work. So thank goodness animals were my calling.
For me, it was radio and animals and creating animal radio with that. Mm-hmm. Our next guest, Merebeth Veit, she has two strong impulses in her life also. Wanderlust. She likes to travel. And she loves animals. And almost by accident, she invented the perfect profession for herself. She is a pet transporter, and she joins us now. Hi, Merebeth. How are you doing?
Hi. How are you?
Very, very good. Where do you call home?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Well, tell us a little bit how you accidentally happened upon pet transporting.
It's a kind of a long story, so I'll kind of summarize it, but I was heading to work one morning and decided to take another route, a shorter route, and up ahead I saw this puppy standing in the middle of the street. So I pulled over and picked him up and went to the nearest house, and there was about 5 more puppies on the porch. They were about 3 months old, and this man came out, and after I talked to him for about 10 minutes, he allowed me to come back and get those puppies. And my sister in Denver wanted one of them. So a couple months later, I didn't want to fly the puppy, so I drove. And when I arrived, I told her, I said, I think I can do this as a business. I think, because I love to drive and I've always loved animals.
Does it pay the bills?
It does.
You've moved, what, about 100 pets so far?
I would say 100. Probably more. You know, I have a lot of referrals. I have, people that like are involved in rescues. Sometimes I do those. Relocations. People that are, the last job I did was a couple that were moving from Maryland to Oceanside. And I took their 3 cats.
Do you ever grow attached to the pets?
Yes. Yes. Yes, many times. Many times. And sometimes if it's, let's say it's an adoption or someone purchased a puppy, sometimes, I don't know where these animals are going. And so sometimes I have apprehension because I've grown so attached to them. And then, 99% of the time I'm very, very happy when I get them to their destination because the people are, warm and loving and love their pet and all that. But there has been a couple occasions where I've just wished I could just drive off with that animal in my car and keep it.
I understand that.
So I bet that you've had, doing this, I'm sure you've got a lot of stories. Who is your worst 4-legged passenger?
I guess if worse could be annoying, it was one cat, and he was super sweet. And his name was Traveler. I swear, his name was Traveler. And he was a rescue from Clarksville, Georgia, to outside of Richmond, Virginia. A lady had adopted him. And that cat meowed the entire time I was driving. And it was just like, I turned the music on. I talked to him. I did all the things that I normally do because, of course, they're going to meow initially. They do. They always do. A few minutes, 10 minutes. But this cat, the only time that cat stopped meowing was when I stopped my car. Like at a rest area or whatever, he'd stop, and I was like, okay, you need your name changed because that's not a good name for you. But he was sweet, and, really that's my only, annoying. I have a really good rapport with animals, and I think for the most part they sense that.
It sounds very interesting what you do, and I thank you so much for spending time with us today and telling us about it.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your, interest in what I do, because it is a very unique job, and I'm glad I didn't really invent it, but I'm glad I kind of came across it when I did, because I really love it. I've seen so many parts of the country that I'm pretty positive I would have never seen.
Thank you so much. And I know you listen to a lot of podcasts as you go across the country. Don't forget, Animal Radio is on a podcast, too. You can listen live streaming, and the animals will love it.
Allen Cable, every day across America, people welcome new kids into their homes. Babies. Here's Tanya.
I'm on maternity leave for my new puppy.
You're on maternity leave because you have a new puppy?
Yes. It's a beautiful thing when you have a four-legged child.
How come you can't go on maternity leave if you get a new boyfriend?
I believe in making sure every man, woman, child, animal has the best chance in life. And by taking maternity leave for my puppy, he is going to be just a great dog.
Kind of cool when you think about it.
And so for me, investing in this time is investing in a lifetime of a wonderful pet.
But is it really maternity leave?
Well, I do get paid vacation, so it's true. It's not traditional maternity leave. But, when you have a new puppy, you need to take time off to socialize it.
She's got a really good point. Dogs have needs, and if you're going to bring a new one home, you got to be there to make sure those needs are met.
This guy is worth it all. Yes, he gets the best of everything. Because this is my child.
This is Animal Radio, baby. People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Red Barn canned food for cats and dogs is grain and gluten-free.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Joey, first I must apologize to you. Last week you insisted we put up a new picture at the website of you because, I see you every week, so I don't really notice changes. But I looked at the two pictures, and holy moly, you look like a different person.
You know what? I feel like it. I appreciate it. That's if you're saying something good. I don't even know if you're saying something. I'm just assuming.
How much have you lost since that picture?
You know what's funny? When I first came to Animal Radio and I gave you that picture, here I am thinking, I look pretty stealth in that picture. And then you look at it now, you're like, oh my God, the great pumpkin Charlie Brown. It's wow.
Can I say you looked more scary when you first came to Animal Radio than you do now?
Well, I didn't think I was here to scare anyone, so what can I tell you?
So what is the total amount? I'm still waiting to hear.
You know what? I lost count, but somewhere it's over 100. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
That's 5 years. That's been a just about 5 years. So it's not like, you drop a lot and then you yo-yo back up a little, then you drop, you yo-yo, you start with Weight Watchers, you go to keto, you do this.
So what's worked for you? What has been the most effective for you?
Weight Watchers definitely was the most effective. And then I stopped counting points and stopped going to the meetings, and you can't do that. And then for me, it's I'm a junkie. Bottom line, that's what it comes down to, a food junkie. So I have to go extreme. So right now I started with a keto-type diet, which is working really, really well for me. But I know it's going to come to a bottom at some point where, the day comes where I have a slice of pizza and I'm going to be back on the streets, sitting on the corners with pizza all around me.
What does keto diet include? Is that like pork rinds? I don't know.
I don't eat like that, but yeah, it does.
Okay.
I'm mainly poultry, fish, healthy oils, avocados, vegetables, that sort of thing. But you can. But again, I mean, you're going to be what you eat. So the problem is I don't want to be putting junk in me at this point. I feel good.
Well, you know what? And your coat looks great.
My coat looks good.
Your coat
it?
and hair, just
Yes.
So what's on the docket today?
Okay, so Pam Cruz.
Good old Pam Cruz.
I mention her name because she has actually emailed me a few times on a few things.
She's a stalker, isn't she? She's stalking you because she does email
Pam
you a lot.
Cruz is a stalker, I think. Yes.
Okay.
But I only know her through. She's like a pen pal. I only know her through text.
But she's watching you now.
But apparently she has a few cats, and she listens to the show, and she's heard me talk about different situations where I used the 2-bucket system to bathe the cats. Well, it doesn't seem to work good for her. She said she just the cats go crazy. It's not working out. So she tried the cornstarch. She said they visually look cleaner, but the smell, and as we know, cat urine sometimes, especially male cats, can be a little overpowering. Now, I haven't, it's funny because I groom cats, but I haven't had a cat in quite some time. We used to have, growing up, I had a bunch of them. So this is what you can do. It's super easy. White vinegar. Nothing, when I was putting out Joey Villani Pet Products, and it's a little story that goes along with this, when I was putting that out, and we were putting an odor eliminator together, because that seemed to be what, the general public was looking for more than anything else. And the chemist said, Joe, nothing works better than white vinegar and water. And I kind of knew that on pets' coats. In this situation, this is what you're going to do, is you're going to mix if you get a quart-sized spray bottle, then you only need a 1/16 of a cup of white vinegar, and fill the rest with, if you got distilled water, works best because it's not going to leave any staining, any minerals behind on the cat. And add, when I say 1 drop, I literally mean 1 drop of dish detergent. Now, the reason why I put the dish detergent in there is because the product needs something to hold on to, because otherwise you spray it on and it just runs right off. If you put a drop of some type of soap in there, it's going to hold on to the coat. So mist the cat, okay? Or you could sponge it on if your cat doesn't like the sound of the sprayer, and especially the areas that smell real bad. And then don't saturate, just mist. Sprinkle it with the cornstarch again, because what the cornstarch is going to do, it's going to pull out the dirt and oils. The vinegar spray is going to take out the odor. You're going to brush it through. When the cat's completely dry, brush it through again. If you put a towel down, it'll work best because it won't make a mess. And you should have a clean kitty that has no odor to her at all. And you could do the same thing for dogs, too.
Now, will my cat smell like vinegar?
No, you know what? The vinegar dissipates. That's a good question, actually, because a lot of people have asked that question. But usually, when it dries completely and it's brushed through, no, you shouldn't smell anything except for what your cat naturally smells like. But you can do the same thing now on dogs or geriatric pets. Pets that for some reason have a hard time getting up. Maybe they lay in their urine or they just don't smell good. Vinegar is going to take out most of the odors.
Okay.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
A man in Thailand successfully broke the world's record for kissing poisonous snakes. Kum Chai Buddy kissed 19 highly poisonous king cobras one by one in front of a crowd of curious onlookers. 4 additional snake charmers and a medical team were ready with serum just in case one of the snakes bit him or anyone else. Chai Buddy kissed more snakes than an American who had held the previous record of kissing 11 snakes in 1999. The event was put on by Thailand's Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, and just in case you were thinking about it, Chai Buddy urged his audience not to try kissing any snakes, explaining that he had been bitten by snakes many times. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
Yeah, puppy pads are convenient, but sometimes they're really gross. That's why the Animal Radio studio stunt dog, Ladybug, uses the Brilliant Pad self-cleaning puppy pad. We love how it handles number 1 and number 2. It seals away the waste and replaces dirty pads for us. Brilliant Pad keeps our home clean and smelling fresh. All we do is replace the roll once every few weeks, and the process is fast and clean. In fact, Ladybug gives it 5 paws up. Learn more about it at brilliantpad.com.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
You know, when I look down at Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, and you, Judy, I see just she looks like she just loves you so much.
You can just see it in her eyes.
And really, she just, every move you make, she's so attentive to you.
We're really close. We're a really bonded pair. I look at her and I just cannot believe I found her and she's in my life.
Yeah.
She's going to be 11.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
She looks so much younger.
She does.
Does she have any surgery or any facelift, or does she use Grecian formula or anything? Because she really does not look 11. She looks about 7.
Yeah, she's just, natural. I don't, cover her gray yet or anything. So this is just her in her natural form.
Yeah. Do you think she really loves you?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Oh, look at her. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering. You also feed her, right? You're I'm going to say the purse strings or the
right.
the refrigerator strings.
But she's on a pretty regular schedule, and she doesn't just come around when it's dinner time. She's there with me all the time. You don't
think she's always thinking about food?
Gosh.
I guess what I'm trying to get at here is it really that she loves you, or is it that she knows that if she plays you, if she does certain things, you will give her food and treats?
No, she loves me.
Oh, okay.
You never bite the hand that feeds you. Dogs know that.
She's always with me. She doesn't care if I feed her right at that moment or not.
Yeah.
Diesel is exactly the same way, you guys.
Yeah.
Look at, I feed him 4 times a day.
That's my point. That's my point. He's got your number.
But I'm like Judy. I love him, and I almost sound desperate, don't I? I don't mean it that way. I look at him, and as I have many dogs in my life, and just saying, you are the cutest thing in the world. I could not love you anymore.
I know. Your heart just swells when you look at him. It's just...
Okay. Well, I still think that it's something that they've been trained to do. They've been trained to love you.
No.
Is what or make it look like they love you. I'm going to ask Marc Bekoff. He will be joining us. He's a very well-known behaviorist, animal behaviorist. He studies animals.
Good guest.
Yes, he is good. And I believe he's been on a couple of times before.
Yeah, and I want to get to the bottom of this, Hal. I want to prove you wrong.
I'm going to ask.
I think he baited us on this, Judy.
Yeah.
I think I did. If you've ever wondered if your animal really loves you or not, we'll talk to Marc Bekoff in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
I'm so excited. Big award. Big award for Sully.
Sully.
President George H.W. Bush's former service dog before he passed away. Gets a huge award. And I'll update you on that story and what he's doing now.
I cannot wait. I'm glad Sully's still around with us.
He is.
Yeah, okay. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My mother says we should go to this phone line here. Is it Vel?
Yes, Vel here.
How you doing today?
I'm pretty good, thank you, Doc.
How can we help you?
Yes, I have a problem with one of my cats. I have 2 cats. One of them is 3 years old. Female. We got her 3 years ago as a little kitty, and approximately in 7 or 8 months after that, we got another cat. We adopted the other one, and since then, when we brought the other cat, it was a confrontation. It's still on. Okay, but recently,
you didn't mention what kind of kitty. Is male or female is the second one?
Yeah, the second one is a male. It's a male, and it's a Siamese. But we adopt him in one of the pet shops, and so confrontation is still on. But recently, approximately maybe half a year ago, the female cat, her name is Katya, and she started to pee or on my clothes, sometimes in a corner, and it's getting worse and worse. And I realize that there is a possibility maybe she's jealous or something, and I'll try to pay more attention to her, to give her more treats or to spend more time with her, like to play with her, but it doesn't get better. And I don't know what to do, because sometimes you came home in the evening, and I feel smell, and I start to looking around, and I found out another spot, and usually she marks my clothes or the place I see, like in the office, or once she just sneaked to the bedroom and she pee on my part of the bed.
Okay. And so does the male cat have any kind of behavioral problems? Is he doing anything abnormal out of the litter box?
Not at all. And he's very adorable. He's not aggressive, like a friend of mine told me that sometimes Siamese are aggressive, and they didn't get along with other animals. But he's very adorable. He's very friendly. Never had a problem with him, and
Okay. And then tell me about the cat's environment. Do these kitties go inside, or do they go outside, or are they indoor only?
They're only indoor.
Okay. And what kind of litter box situation do you have for these kids?
It's a one big one. It's the one plastic, extra large.
Okay. Is there a cover on top of it, or is it an open one?
Yes, it is. It is covered.
It is. Okay.
I mentioned the situation in Petco, and they recommend me to get another box. I haven't purchased another box because I have a limited space in my place. So I put like a box, just a simple box, and I put a little there. It didn't work.
Okay. And how do the two kitties get along? Do they fight? Are they pretty playful? Do you have problems where they'll hiss at each other?
Sometimes they play, but this game become aggressive from my female cat. She let him play. She let him play with her for a short period of time. Then she started to play aggressively, like she's basically attacking him.
All right. Well, let's get to the bottom of this here, Val. And I'm going to have to agree, first and foremost, with the Petco recommendation. When we have two cats in the household and one litter pan, there's always kind of an unconscious, quiet strife, kind of a fight that cats can have over that resource. And that may not be a problem in the average cat household. But if there is a little interpersonal problem, then we're going to see a problem manifested. And very commonly, it'll be in house soiling accidents. So before we go down that whole behavior road, I guess I should back up and say, anytime I have a cat that is urinating out of the litter box, I always, always, always want to get a veterinary examination and at the very minimum get a urine sample. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I know it's behavioral. We don't. And there's such an overlap between medical problems and behavioral problems that in many cases they blur. And we just can't confidently say in those situations, oh, it's just a behavioral problem. Don't worry about going to the vet. You don't need to. So that's my first therapy for you, is to see the veterinarian and have her urine checked out. We know that there's a lot of possibilities for intercat aggression. So if a cat has a lower urinary tract problem, they can be more aggressive with other cats. If they have arthritis, they have thyroid problems, they may have heightened aggression towards other animals and other behavioral problems in the home. So let's make sure that kitty is in sound health. So once that is done, and I'm going to hope that's all good, then we're going to work on the resources in the home. And the litter box is the first resource that we've mentioned. We want to add that second box. As painful as it is in your household situation, we need to make sure we get another litter box. The other recommendation I'm going to have is to take that lid off that litter box and put it away, because many cats find that too oppressive to have that over top of them. And especially if we're worried about another cat that's competing for that resource, that can be a problem. So take the lid away, add that second box, make sure it's a solid litter box that's not going to shake under their footing. And then we talk about maybe trying different litter substrates, different litter surfaces. Every cat's a little different. Some really enjoy the types of the corn cob litters. Others like the clumping litter. So you have to kind of experiment with that a little bit. And then once we get to that point, I'm going to ask you to add some other resources for the kitties. You mentioned you try to give her some extra attention. That's great. but we also need to give her extra hiding spots. And cats are very vertically oriented. So what they like is they don't want to have a flat bed, even with our bed. They want to go high. So we want to make a little kitty condo, or even some of the little window seats that cats can look outside of a window. That's how they feel more comfortable and confident in their world. They go vertically higher. So look for opportunities to give her those opportunities in the home, and that's going to give her a little bit more confidence and an ability to get away from the other guy. And then we can work on all these other issues, and there's so much we can get into in cat psychology here. And then in some cases, we will look at some medication for kitties. I don't know that that's going to be the first step for you, because there's a lot environmentally that we can really adjust and work with. And then another final recommendation, I'm a big fan of the natural pheromones. So you can go to your local pet store or veterinary office and pick up a little plug-in that releases scent hormones that have a calming effect. And that can help when we have these kind of inter-cat problems, whether it be house soiling or aggression or what have you. So I've given you a lot of homework, Val. I wish you the best of luck with things, and hopefully we can work through your kitty household problems and the house soiling. So my best wishes to you, and give your kitties a hug and a kiss for me.
Now, there is a formula for litters, Doctor.
The number of litter pans in a cat household should be one more than the number of cats you have. So in a 2-cat household, we really ought to have 3 litter pans in order to decrease this resource protectionism that they have.
Okay, so even adding a second one may not be the solution. He may need to add a third one there.
Very possible.
Cats are so darn territorial, I'll tell you. Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Red Barn. And during these uncertain times, Red Barn is grateful for the consistent love and joy our pets bring into our lives. They're also grateful for their all-natural, long-lasting dog chews. Now diligently working alongside their pet parents, your dog deserves a break in between video chat appearances and lap sitting. Red Barn chews are the natural way to distract your dog during the day or give their paws a break from typing up emails. Thanks, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too, and we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido-friendly magazine to find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
You're listening to Animal Radio, live at the Red Barn Studios. Here's Hal and Judy.
Hey, don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. Hi, who is this?
This is Paul.
Hi, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Very well. Where are you calling from?
Kamei, Idaho.
Where is that?
North central Idaho, kind of in the base of the handle, about 150 miles west of Missoula.
Great. Hey, I've got a fishing trip planned up in your parks in the next month or so. I'm looking forward to it.
Come on down. It's beautiful country. It's pristine America, man.
It is awesome.
Yes.
You can't beat it.
No.
So what's going on today?
I have a 1-year-old miniature schnauzer female, spayed at 6 months, and when she gets real excited, most of the time when I come home, she gets excited for maybe 10, 15 seconds, jumping up and down, excited, Daddy's home, blah, 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 and then she kind of plotzes.
She falls down?
She falls down, and that lasts about 10 or 15 seconds. Now, our vet has diagnosed her with a heart murmur and says that's what's causing it.
Okay.
Now, I love the little dog. She's just the coolest thing. What can I know she's got a limited life, but is there anything I might do to minimize the event?
Okay. Well, good questions here. And as far as beyond her having those episodes where she's kind of falling over and collapsing, does she have any problems coughing, any problems playing?
No. You mean after?
No, just outside of that. You know, does she seem like she's a normal dog? Does she jump and play?
She's extremely social. she's almost like a person. I mean, she's just really neat. But one other item, occasionally when she plotzes, the very first time it happened, we were running, and then it happened, and she actually pooped and piddled both at the same times and yelped. And then she went down. And then,
goodness.
now, she doesn't yelp or anything, but after I call it a anxiety attack, she just plotzes, and she does piddle sometimes. I think she just loses control.
And she doesn't actually lose consciousness or anything of that sort?
No,
is she kind of with it?
It just looks like she's kind of in the twilight zone for about 10 or 15 seconds. Very limp. She just, she'll kind of start going over, and sometimes she'll fall over. And then a couple of times her feet have kind of twitched a little bit.
Oh,
and,
goodness.
I'd hate to go put her down because she's such a fun thing, but, I'm just wondering, now, my wife has given her, what is it? Melatonin in little bits occasionally to kind of cool her out, like for car rides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because she loves barking at things.
Yeah, well, that's the Schnauzer lifestyle, is to bark at everything that the wind blows. That is no doubt.
That's her job.
Yeah, and I want to kind of back up a little bit and talk about, you mentioned something, what we call a heart murmur, and basically when we hear a heart murmur, that's basically an abnormal sound that tells us the blood is not flowing in the right direction, kind of almost like swimming against the stream in a swimming pool. So we hear an abnormal sound. Now, there are some murmurs that go away when dogs are pups, and that would typically be about 4 to 5 months. So if she's still got a heart murmur and you're seeing those signs, I would agree with them. There's something serious going on. From here, there's a couple things that would really help in deciding what our options are for her. And one of the big things would be to get an ultrasound on her heart, because there's a lot of different congenital problems that dogs can be born with that cause murmurs. And ultimately, some are definitely more treatable than others, and some are more progressive in how bad they make the pet feel. So it's a little hard to say ultimately where you might go without a more specific diagnosis. And I would definitely encourage you, if that's at all possible, get a heart ultrasound, because that will really help make that call. And I've had some dogs here at my own office that, I catch that murmur young, and many times we kind of wish it away and hope that it doesn't create a problem. And we really want to jump on that before there's too much of a problem for the pet. Yeah. But there might be some things at this point, keeping her comfortable. There are some medicines that we treat if we're dealing with congestive heart failure. So medicine like Lasix, some vasodilators, which treat the effects of the heart failure, but aren't going to ultimately.
Diuretic?
Yeah, diuretic. That's Lasix, and that's kind of like a water pill.
Right, 'cause my vet had said, in a few years she'll start collecting water in her lungs and or stomach, and we'll put her on diuretics, and that'll help a little bit. But he's a country doctor, and we love him.
So, and that would be the big thing, is whether, if you have the capability to have a veterinarian do an ultrasound on her, that's really the biggest thing. And, if not, there are some of these problems that are slowly progressive and may take a couple of years until, we really have some decreased quality of life. But there are some things like, the diuretics, the vasodilators, which actually kind of decrease the volume of blood that the heart is faced with at a given moment, and that can really make a difference as well. So those might be some things to think about. And then, one of the big things we want to do with any heart disease patient is keep them in good, healthy weight. I think with what you're describing, with her having these problems in these episodes, she is definitely a special needs dog, and, make sure everyone in the household's prepared for that. And, if at all possible, some of these things are completely treatable. If you have the veterinary means around you, there are some different procedures. Some are surgical type procedures to help her out. It might not be the particular case for her, but I really think, we'll get a diagnosis and we can tell you a little bit better where we can go with things.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. We really appreciate it.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Rogers.
And Cynthia Rogers.
On Animal Radio.
Just know that it's going to be all right, meow.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1584. 877-247-1584. 877-247-1584.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. The American Kennel Club has honored President George H.W. Bush's service dog, Sully. Remember him? I don't think you could ever forget if you saw President Bush's funeral on TV and saw those pictures where Sully actually spent the night next to the casket. But the AKC has given Sully the AKC Paw of Courage Award in recognition of his loyalty, dedication, and distinguished service. Of course, there are thousands of other great dogs throughout the country. Sully just happened to be famous. But last month, if you aren't keeping up on this, Sully, who is now 2.5 years old, he's still so young and has so much to give. He joined the Walter Reed Bethesda Facility Dog Program. His title is now officially Navy Hospital Corpsman Second Class, Sully. And there at the facility in Bethesda, he will be providing some interactive care for patients and also training staff. And congratulations to the open-minded folks up in the Vermont town of Fairhaven. They have elected their first animal mayor because they didn't have a human mayor, so what the heck? Let's just have a mayor, they said. So they have elected a 3-year-old Nubian goat. His name is Lincoln. And everyone is really excited about Lincoln. Apparently he's a pretty cute goat. I think goats are adorable, and people love them now. They're making great pets as well. But Lincoln bested a second-place finisher. He beat out a dog named Sammy by only 2 votes. So to beat a dog has to be a pretty cute goat.
And he has aspirations for the United States presidency, too.
Maybe. Right now, his duties for Lincoln the goat will be, to be in the parade, things like that, where you just kind of show up and you don't have to have a lot of brain power.
Yeah.
Just be cute.
Can he tweet yet?
Oh, I hope not.
Before we go, because I want to say something, because you brought up AKC Awards, and it made me think of something. So the AKC has, in their history, has only given out 5 leadership awards, okay? And guess who has gotten one of them? In 2018, Joey Villani got the AKC Leadership Award for outstanding contributions to his industry. So I figured I'd throw that in there, being that the AKC Awards came up.
I'm so excited. Congratulations.
It's
an honor.
I'm sorry
That's
that
huge.
I didn't recognize it earlier.
Oh, I remember I told you how, and you just, walked down the hallway, tussling papers, so...
Was I on my way to the break room? Because, there's fresh donuts in there every morning.
You might have been. Yes, you might have been.
He had donuts on his mind.
Joey, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
Hal,
you.
go grab a donut. Bring one back for me, too, okay? For all of us, you can get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. And no stranger to Animal Radio, albeit 12 years ago. We welcome back Marc Bekoff. He is a professor emeritus at the University of Colorado. Welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be with you. Thanks for having me on your lovely show.
You have a brand new book out. It's called Unleashing Your Dog. And, with the press release, there come some suggested questions. I've always bucked authority. So I have some questions that kind of go off script here. Mostly because you focus on the behavior and the psychology behind canines, dogs. And I want to know, does my dog really love me, or has he learned to do things that look like love, but really it comes down to food?
Oh, I think your dog loves you, although I don't know the relationship. But, there's a lot of theories out there that dogs use us for food and for cuddling and for getting to the dog park or whatever. And I don't believe that at all. I mean, I think it's all part of the very positive and long-term relationships we build with our canine companions. So even though I don't know you or your dog, I'll wager that your dog loves you.
My dog, especially after I give her a bath, we go outside and she'll find a dead worm or something to roll in. Am I doing her a disservice by not allowing her to roll in these dead
that's gross.
worms? I know it's gross, and I don't like it. I don't know why she does it, but should I let her, or is that just disgusting?
Well, part of the unleashing paradigm is to let her. I mean, I fully understand that dogs will roll in things that are terribly offensive to us, and that sometimes, we just have to stop them. But they like to roll. And so I say, let them roll to their heart's content. And then there's going to be times when it's not appropriate. So if I were out with my dog and they were running, I lived in the mountains outside of Boulder, and they rolled in some putrid stuff, then they had a big outdoor run, and they would stay there until the odor dissipated. But if I knew I was going to town with them, I would frankly stop them from rolling and put them in the car. And to be honest with you, I don't think they suffered from any psychological disorder because I stopped them from rolling on occasion.
So this is kind of the concept of the book, isn't it? That you're unleashing your dog, allowing your dog to do things that normally wouldn't be appropriate for humans?
Yeah, I mean, well, not only that, but I mean, unleashing really meaning letting them be dogs and giving them as much freedom as possible. And one of the messages is that even when a dog is being walked on a leash or some kind of tether, you can unleash them by letting them sniff as much as they want. And part of the unleashing regime, if you will, is that even if they're on a leash, the walk is for them. So let them sniff, and they'll learn at some point that you only have 15 or 20 minutes or a half hour, but unleashing means giving them agency or giving them control and giving them the ability to make choices and to let them be a dog.
Okay, so letting them sniff, what are some other easy ways to unleash our dog?
Well, another, of course, is if you go to a dog park and your dog likes the dog park as well, just let them romp with their friends. One bottom line message is to become fluent in dog or dog literate. And that means that you understand that when they're playing roughly, it's not necessarily going to escalate into a fight. And in fact, rough play escalates into serious fighting less than 1% of the time. So it means letting them interact with their friends. It means letting them roll, letting them taste certain things that we all find utterly off-putting. But unleashing also refers to understanding how their senses work. The whole book is built around the 5 senses. So it really means understanding a dog and understanding dogs as individuals. Do they like loud music? Do they not like loud music? We stress that we shouldn't be pouring perfumes and deodorants all over them because they like their own doggy smells, for example.
What about dressing them up in doggy shorts? This is something we were just talking about. The ladies love dressing their animals up, but I cannot do it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, my take is if it doesn't harm them and it makes the human feel good and it improves the relationship with the dog, then that's okay. I mean,
Thank you so much.
Well, that's part of unleashing the human. I think that if it doesn't harm them, it doesn't restrict their movements, if it doesn't smell from some, a detergent, then it's okay. The bottom line is they don't care. You know, they don't care if their nails are painted. They don't care if you put shorts on them as long as it doesn't restrict their movement and the shorts are pink, green, or paisley or tie-dye. Do I do it to my dogs? No. Do I think it's bad for the dogs? No, not necessarily, but people need to understand that their dogs don't really care.
Yeah, there's some dogs you can tell if your dog enjoys it or doesn't like it. I mean, the dog will try to get it off if they're uncomfortable. But if my dog gets very excited when she sees me coming.
She believes she's the center of attention, which she is.
Oh, and she struts it. She knows she's got something special.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is you're giving them attention. They feel the love, and it's okay. You know, this sounds so silly to say, but it's far better than, you know, yelling at them or telling them no all the time.
Sure.
So, you know, so there are certain things that people do, like, you know, dressing their dogs up. You know, if it works for both of them, that's fine. And you know, another bottom line message of the book is that the relationship is one of mutual tolerance, reciprocal respect and trust, if you will, and that we're always negotiating with our dogs. And so the main message is whatever you do has to be good for them and us. And sometimes I find myself erring that, well, I may not want to do this, but they love to do it. So what the heck? The rest of their time, they're captive. And, you know, that's another underlying theme, not in a negative sense, but, you know, we tell them when they can eat, who they can play with, what they can eat, when they can poop and pee and go outside and get exercise. So freeing them up, unleashing them really is the way to give them the most freedom possible in a human-oriented world.
Hey, Mark, we got to take a quick break, so hang tight for 1 second. We'll be right back with Marc Bekoff.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Try our chicken rolled food as a meal or shredded as a topper.
Oh, what did he say? He said we're all across the USA, the most listened to pet show today. Animal Radio, we're everywhere you go. Animal Radio. Animal Radio.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Hey, you lucky dog, it's Animal Radio. We are with Marc Bekoff. He's Professor Emeritus of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at the University of Colorado. Wow, that's a mouthful there. And his latest book is called Unleashing Your Dog, a field guide to giving your canine companion the best life possible. But when you talk about unleashing, it's more metaphorical.
Yeah, it's called a loose leash.
A loose leash.
A loose leash, yes.
Because a lot of people, they'll take their dog out, they see him poop, and they just pull him back in. They don't realize that, I guess, the sniffing around is like a Facebook for us. You know,
we call it pee mail or poop mail.
Pee mail, okay.
Right. I mean, no, you're absolutely right. It is a metaphor. And what it does is it really generates a lot of conversation. So when I was talking to a few people a couple of weeks ago at one of the local dog parks, that's when I came up with this phrase that you can unleash a leashed dog. And we got into a long discussion, and of course a lot of it focused on allowing them to sniff when they're on a leash, allowing them to stop and wiggle their ears or, you know, move their head because they likely hear something that we don't hear. So that's exactly what it is about. And it, once again, all boils down to giving our dogs the most freedoms that they can possibly have in the situation in which they live.
An incredible book, once again, Unleashing Your Dog, a field guide to giving your canine companion the best life possible. Marc Bekoff joining us. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
My pleasure, and I hope all the dogs benefit from it.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm gonna make sure that 10 right now benefit from this. 1-866-405-8405 if you'd like to pick up the book, Unleashing Your Dog. If you're not lucky enough to get on through, head on over to Amazon.com or your favorite bookstore if it still exists and ask for it. Okay, it's Unleashing Your Dog, a field guide to giving your canine companion the best life possible. And Marc Bekoff, the author on that.
After the show, I'm going to let Ladybug go roll in that dead worm outside.
Oh, jeez.
Lovely. Thank you.
Hi, it's Alan Cable. You know, dogs are dogs and people are people. I work with two folks this week. Each of them had the same problem. Their dog basically tries to rip their shoulder off at the end of a leash. And the guy I was working with, he let the dog off the leash. What do you think the dog did? Started jumping on him, grabbing the leash with his teeth. Pretty disrespectful behavior, wouldn't you say? You might not, but if that dog were part of a dog pack and did that to the alpha, he'd get a smackdown. Not with words or conversation like people do, but with swift action, a swift correction. A lot of people refuse to accept that their dog's a dog. They pretend the dogs are human. They think he understands everything they're saying and that he likes everything that humans like. Here's an example. Who doesn't love a hug? I'll tell you who. Most dogs. A hug is threatening to most dogs. They'll put up with it from their human pack members, but when a stranger does it, it signals domination and an invasion of space. It makes a dog feel threatened. We communicate with words. But if you really want to understand your dog, or any dog, you have to watch their body language, their eyes, and what they do when you and other people are around. They learn by observing us. For instance, let's say you had a rug in your kitchen, and the only time you gave your dog a treat is when he was on this rug. You'll notice the dog connects the dots. He figures out that when he's in that place, he gets a treat. So every time you walk in the room, you'll notice your dog moves to that spot. He even stays in that spot when you're not in the room. This is a cool way to train your dog to do lots of stuff. You're rewarding him for something he's already doing that you like. Then take it a step further. If he's not on the rug, point at it. If he doesn't move, you, while pointing at the rug, start moving towards it. You can use the word treat repeatedly, too. If he's still not moving, get a treat and hold it in your hand while still pointing at the rug and moving towards it. Trust me, your dog's going to get the message. And pretty soon, you'll be able to point to get him to go wherever you want him to. People will be fascinated how your dog will do what you want him to without ever saying a word. The greatest thing you can do for your dog is to be a strong pack leader and give him structure. He'll be calm and happy for it.
Whoa, sounds like Diesel wants to get on out of here.
He started this new thing of crying about 3:30 or 4 in the morning.
Oh, no.
I have to poop. I have to poop. Because he's not allowed in the bed because he guards me in the bed.
He guards you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty funny.
So you have to take him outside at 3 in the morning?
That's what he's been starting to do. So, yeah he still doesn't have a
So do you comply with that?
routine.
I think was the question.
Yeah.
Do you comply with that 3 a.m. request?
I did for the first 2 days.
And did he poop?
And then I ended up staying up for another 3 days until 3 a.m., making sure that he pooped before I finally got to bed. But then I didn't get to go to sleep until like 3:30 in the morning. But you have to be consistent, and we're just not consistent yet.
Ah, okay.
Last night was another, Mom, I had to poop! and then he clawed, at the baby gate and making noise and stuff. So he just wants attention.
Sure.
And it's hard to deny him that. But I don't want to set up a pattern for the entire future, the rest of my life. So ask me next week.
A slippery slope there. Slippery slope. Well, let's go take Diesel for a walk right now and Ladybug too. And you grab your animal, take him for a walk. Remember, if you need your fix during the week, you can visit us over at animalradio.pet. And if you happen to have a Yorkshire Terrier, a Shih Tzu, a Pug, or Mini Schnauzer, check out Dr. Debbie's books, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. They are Kindle reads, and we have links over at animalradio.pet. In fact, we have links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet. We'll see you next week for more Animal Radio right here.
And I just wanted to let you know, I'm glad that we proved that Ladybug really does love me, Hal. Now you know she really does love me.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.